Good evening. Welcome to The Analyst, where we talk about life, where we talk about business, where we talk about things that are going to help us to move forward and improve ourselves. We have been talking about pursuing depth in life, in work, and adopting the different approaches you can use to pursue depth in work. In our previous video, we talked about the hermit's approach and the semi-hermit's approach. Please tune back to those videos so that you are able to get content on those particular models or approaches to pursuing depth in work. So today we want to talk about intermittent approach to pursuing depth in work. In the previous video we talked about the hermit and the semi-hermit, and they are very different. The intermittent approach is different from the two. Some people sometimes call this the chain approach. Now, the intermittent approach has the tendency for you to schedule moments in a day to pursue deep work. Schedule moments in the day. There's a professor called Stephen Chappell. It's called actually Bryan Chapell. And what happened was Bryan Chapell was developing a dissertation to present. And he had to write chapters in each dissertation. And you see what happened was that it would take time to write these chapters. And so he had to schedule his time. So one time he agreed that he's going to be waking up from 5 to 7. So between 5 and 7, he was pursuing writing chapters for his book and for his dissertation. Then he increased that time to 4:45 to 7. So it increased his time. So he discovered that within 3-4 weeks, he's done with the chapter. This was in sharp contrast to what he had tried previously. He had tried to schedule maybe 90 minutes. But what happened was every time he spent the 90 minutes, it took him a year to just form a chapter in his dissertation. But this approach worked for him because every day you're spending about 2 hours, 15 minutes of deep concentrated work and writing part of the chapter. And by the end of 2 weeks, he was done. So you find that when you accumulate that time of a period of 1 year, you find he has done so many chapters and is actually about to complete what? His dissertation. And so that's another approach that you can adopt. There was Seinfeld. Seinfeld is a comedian. And Seinfeld used to adopt the approach of the chain method. So what happened was, one time a man called Brady came to Seinfeld and asked him, but how are you able to become a better comedian? Because they are both comedians. So Seinfeld gives Brady a very important word of wisdom. He told Brady that to be a better comedian, you have to make better jokes. And to make better jokes, you just have to write better jokes. And to write better jokes, you have to write better jokes every single day. And so the practice with Seinfeld was that every single day he scheduled time in his day where he concentrated on writing better jokes, where he concentrated on specifically writing comics. And he created value that people wanted. He created value that people appreciated. He created something that people yearned for. And Brady went on to succeed using that approach of scheduling moments in the day to concentrate without distraction. The phone is off. You don't concentrate on social media. You just focus on the work and the task at hand. Over a period of time, you find you have an accumulated volume and you're able to create value in the marketplace. So the other last approach that I want to talk about is the journalist method. The journalist method. And this is the last one. You can use any of them to your best advantage. Now, journalists are, by the nature of their profession, required to instantly write stories as they come. That is the role of journalists. Instantly, you're supposed to write stories as they come. And the challenge with this is if your mind is not trained to shift immediately from shallow work into deep work, it becomes difficult to shift immediately from distracted work into writing a story immediately. So over time, the skills that they have honed have helped them to easily transition from a mode of shallow work to a mode of deep work. In fact, this model of journalism was adopted by a man called Isaac. So, Walter Isaacson. Walter Isaacson has written a biography of people like Steve Jobs, people like Benjamin Franklin. He has written biographies of people like Albert Einstein. So, he has also written a biography on the heroes in the World War. He talked about some people. And then there was something that was talked about how he went about writing that book. What happened was he adopted the approach of journaling method. Like when he got free time, he concentrated on writing chapters of the book. And when he didn't have free time, he just went about doing his other things. But when he got free time again, he concentrated on writing deep things about his book. So the journaling method is all about every time you have free time, you want to concentrate on a deep work. When you don't have it, you do something else. But when you get free time, you concentrate on deep work. Maybe a meeting has been cancelled. Instead of just procrastinating, you concentrate on deep work. Okay? Maybe an appointment has been cancelled. Instead of procrastinating, you concentrate on deep work. Concentrating on making something come to pass. And it cuts across all professions. If you're a comedian, you need to make good jokes. You need to make jokes that make people laugh. And to make good jokes, you have to sit down and write the jokes. If you're a writer, you need to make good books. And to make good books, you have to sit down, study, think about what to write and make good books. If you're a speaker, you need to make good speeches. And making good speeches takes time and concentrating to bring out a good speech. If you're a computer coding person, you have to make good programs. And that takes time for you to concentrate. So these are the 4 approaches that you can adopt. Now, the most common approach that normally is recommended is the intermittent method, because it fits into our human nature. We have daily programs and you can schedule time every day to concentrate on deep work. The journaling method becomes hard. Why? Because sometimes we're not trained to easily shift from shallow work into deep work. The monastic or hermit's method is kind of challenging because you have to completely and totally isolate yourself. Now, it's impractical for a normal human being with normal activities to completely and totally isolate themselves. Now, with the semi-hermit method or the bimodal method, you have to allocate quite some chunk of time to concentrate on deep work. Now, that is only possible maybe if you have a job that can give you leave for maybe 4 something months where you can completely isolate yourself. If you have a wife who understands you, if you have children who understand you. So it becomes difficult to adopt that particular method. But people have adopted methods. So you can always sit down and think of a method that best works for you, because to produce something of value, you will have to make a decision today to concentrate on something that produces deep work in your efforts. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you have learned something. Please subscribe, share this video so that someone can be able to know it. Thank you.